After decades working at the bedside, why does no one warn us about the loneliness that can creep in? Not the patients, not the charity, not those new grads. It could be your kids, right? But the loneliness, because this one hits different. You know, if you have felt like that in your chest, like I did, stay with me. This video's for you. And so, hey, if you're a nurse over 50 or 60 and you want support, you want options, you want a community that gets you, hit that subscribe button because you're in the right place. You know, after 25, 30 years on the floor, heck, 40, right? You've seen it all. Codes, chaos, mentoring new nurses. How many changeovers in administrators? How many times have you been asked to try new things and learn new equipment, right? But nothing prepares you for how isolating that can feel, especially when you go home. You're sharp, you're seasoned, you're intuitive, but you're also bone deep tired. So if you've ever felt like you're carrying all of this alone, you are in the right place. Maybe you're divorced like I am, or maybe you were widowed. Maybe you got a husband and you don't even like each other. Hey, that happens more than you might know. But you know what? You're sharp, you're seasoned, and you're intuitive. So put in the comments, I'm here, so I know that you're here. So the big problem is this isn't a regular tired. This is my back hurts every dang day tired. Emotional weight of the world tired. Like, I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this. I don't know how much longer I can keep getting up and going back to this situation day after day after day without seeing any change. You know, you look around the break room and you see all these new grads and you feel like they live in another universe. You're the expert and you're the go-to, the calm in the storm. But who do you go to? Who do you go to when that fear hits and your body can't keep up for another 5 or 10 years? That loneliness, it is very real. And I know the moment for me when I knew that I needed to get out of direct care. I had been working in a hospital on the weekends because I was in public health infectious disease. For most of my career, I had always worked in a hospital, right? And I would be working a 12-hour shift and, 7 p.m. comes and I'm just starting charting on my 5 to 6 patients on neuro. And all the new grads, well, they're gone. All the new nurses, they're gone. And you know why? Because they chart throughout the day. And they're not usually giving a whole lot of direct care. I mean, I hate to say that. That's strictly my opinion. But I knew then it was time for me to go. I knew that I couldn't keep doing this. And I certainly wasn't making a fortune doing it, right? So can you relate to that? So if this is resonating, tap the like so that more nurses can see this. And there are real reasons that this stage of life hits so hard. You're working with nurses who could be your kids. There are different priorities, different stamina. It's a whole different world. And friend groups are set. It's a lot harder to make friends when we get in these later stages of life because, again, the friend groups are already set. And then especially if you become divorced or widowed, the shunning, right? Because you're no longer part of a couple. I felt that really strongly. And we're also the sandwich generation. We're spending 12 hours a day caring for strangers. And then we might have to go home and take care of aging parents, maybe grandkids, adult kids still living with you. That was me. So it's no wonder we're exhausted. No wonder. And the third thing is your body changes. Night shift at 55 is not the same as night shift at 35. Am I right? And we are not conditioned to work such long hours on our feet. It's no wonder our back hurts, right? We may have developed some health problems because we don't take care of ourselves. We know that old saying that nurses are the queens of UTIs because we never get a chance to go to the bathroom, let alone drink the water that we need. Am I right? But the bigger question is, what is next? What is going to be in this next stage of your life? Retirement isn't an idea anymore. It's real, but it can be very scary. And nobody shows you how to prepare emotionally. So comment still here if this is connecting with you. So the turning point for me, I used to think that all of this isolation was just part of the job. Go to work, come home, take kids. Go to work, come home, maybe the kids are away at school. Or they go away at school and they come back home, in and out. If you're like me, my kids came back and forth for a few years. Thankfully, they're all gone now. But what about me? I couldn't even come home and enjoy my home the way that I wanted to. It was just something that I had to accept. And then one day I admitted how overwhelmed I felt. And my coworkers knew it. They knew that I was ready to retire. I wasn't doing my best work. My heart wasn't in it anymore. And I just frankly didn't want to be there. So I knew then that everything had to change. But I also realized that I wasn't alone. When I started looking around at my coworkers and my friend group, there was a lot of us in the same situation, but nobody really knew where to start. Thankfully, I had a dear friend who I had worked with in my prior job who had retired a year before, and I saw how she was thriving, right? And so I reached out to her. And then I realized that I needed community. There are entire communities built of nurses just like us, built for nurses like us, women like us, and people who are navigating this exact season. So if you have ever had a Me Too moment, please share it below in the comments. But here's when you can find real, meaningful support. Go to online nursing communities. There's a whole list of them, allnurses.com, nurse.org. They're perfect for lay career conversations. There's also professional organizations, the American Nurse Association, things like that. They are great for networking and exploring non-bedside roles if that's what you want to do. Maybe you're not ready to retire yet, but you just need to see what else is out there. Because we get so pigeonholed into thinking we can only do the same thing, when in reality, we can do a whole lot more than that. And you also want to look for peer support and mental health groups. Like, you may want to try counseling. But if you search nurse peer support groups, they will come up. And then local meetups for women your age, meetup.com, or start a small group in your area for nurses. Another great way that helped for me to build this support, it wasn't even just nurses. I started thinking about what was it that I really enjoy? What brings me joy? Because serving is important to me, right? I mean, we're nurses, we serve. I love live music. I love live theater. I love the arts. I don't have an artistic bone in my body, but I'm going to support those. I volunteer. And I can't tell you the beautiful people and friends, most of them not nurses, that I have found in these communities. And that has changed everything for me in retirement, right? So find your community. Finding your community gives you a shared understanding. People who say, I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly. And you want real world advice. If you're ready maybe to quit cold turkey, or you want to ease into, say, a part-time role, you can get some information on the non-bedside roles, retirement questions, where to start asking these questions, second act careers. Maybe you want to do something completely outside of nursing. I thought about it, but that's why I jumped into digital marketing. And you can find a renewed purpose. Your experience is valuable. It is your superpower. It's not a liability, my friend. So if you want more information, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to be doing more content around this, okay? So just remember, you have spent decades being the strong one, the calm one, the caregiver, but you are not meant to walk alone in this next chapter. Your people are out there, and you deserve support just as much as everyone else. So if this message hit home, give it a like, share it with a nurse who needs to hear it, and drop a comment so we can welcome you into this community. You belong here.